Most people think this movie is good, but I disagree. It starts off not too bad though. Miles was real popular in his old school and is upset his dad is pretty much forcing him to join a new prestigious school. His dad doesn't seem to like Spider-Man because he answers to no one and wears a mask, and it's just hard to believe. Like he sees some fucking gigantic lizard mutant causing havoc and he wants the cops to all run at it and die instead of letting the part spider superhuman dude deal with it. Like, I get what they're going for with a by the rule officer of the law, not like in Spider-Man style. But come on, I don't really buy it. Then he sits next to this girl, who hypothetically could be a spider person from another universe, who for some fucking reason travelled backwards in time. Miles gets 0 out of 100 on his true and false physics test, but the teacher obviously catches on and realizes he is purposely botching the test in order to get kicked out of school. So in reality, Miles got 100 out of 100 on the test. Firstly, what kind of test is a true and false out of 100? I thought the school was prestigious. Secondly, it seemed like Miles was struggling with school in this little montage, but he's just a genius. He knew every question in the test in his mega competitive school. Or was this one test just piss easy for some reason? It was a true and false. And Miles is smart enough to know every answer to the test, but too stupid to know getting 0 is just absurd. Having said all that, it could be that Miles is too scared to go all out and getting kicked out of school. He doesn't want to disappoint his dad, and so he somewhat subconsciously made it obvious that he was cheating, because he couldn't go all the way. I feel like I'm doing some heavy lifting here. I don't think any of that's intended, but death of the author and all that. Miles is still very good at physics though, I guess. Miles then escapes imprisonment to see his uncle. He's all laid back, Miles admires him, and he then takes him to his underground place to put up some art. What are those little fuckers called again? Arachnids?
Wait, your name is Gwanda?
It's African. I'm South African.
Racial. So...
Okay, coincidentally, the first thing Miles' hand sticks to is another human in front of everyone. But, if hypothetically this girl was a spider person from another universe, who for some fucking reason travelled backwards in time, wouldn't you think it was strange what's happening and maybe think he could be a spider person as well? And either way, why, if that hypothetical was true, would she be freaking out so much and seems like embarrassed? I don't know. And Miles is sticking to people. Wouldn't he be freaking out more about why he's sticking to people than just like feeling really embarrassed? Also, no one questioned what the fuck happened. Did they assume he had invisible superglue on his hands? Gwen happens to be the only one to see Miles on a building. Surely, if she was hypothetically a spider person from another universe who for some fucking reason traveled backwards in time, then at this point, she should sure as shit know this guy has some spider powers, so why wouldn't she talk to him? Also, it's shown comedically how no one notices him or hears his screams, but if people see him, then they know he's Spider-Man. His identity is revealed. Like, that's pretty major. But I guess it's just meant to be goofy, so whatever. So it seems like Miles really doesn't want to be Spider-Man, but like, isn't being Spider-Man really epic? I just don't think we really have enough to go off to sympathize with him really not wanting to be Spider-Man. The film is going with how Miles is already under a load of stress and pressure, so being Spider-Man would just add so much stress and pressure, and his body is changing so much and all, and he got embarrassed. But to me, I feel the guy who wants to leave his school, who seemingly trolled his test to try and get kicked out, I know I had that theory, but still, and who sneaked out of school to do some graffiti with his uncle, would take gaining spider powers as a fuck it we ball moment, and just go all in on going back to his old school, and taking up being Spider-Man, as Spider-Man is awesome. I don't feel too strongly about this point, and either way, it ain't at all major, so don't get me twisted. For some reason, this is the only time in a movie Miles' Spidey sense can literally see deep into the future at a conversation that takes place. That just ain't how the Spidey sense works, because that's really stupid. His uncle showed Miles a place next to the mega evil place. If hypothetically you knew about this place, then Jesus, he doesn't give a shit about Miles, as obviously Miles might come back to it, which he has, and coincidentally, this is when everything is going down. Why does this thing retract? Miles should have been seen a lot of times in the fight.
I just need to destroy this big machine real quick before the space-time continuum collapses.
This is good because I can only get invested in stuff when the stakes involve the term space-time continuum. What's the point of a spidey sense if you don't dodge? Miles is recording? Isn't that a bit fucking nonchalant and a little sociopathic? Man, kids these days. Yeah, Spider-Man cannot hold that with one arm, and if he could, which I guess he can, then how's he losing this fight so bad?
I should go up there and help him.
I mean, how though? But I do appreciate the thought.
What's your take on head trauma?
Okay, very lucky.
I tried to warn you, pal.
You did try to warn him, you gave him a chance to dodge. But it's only a quip, I guess. What was that about the space-time continuum? That it might collapse? Peter sucks, Jesus. The explosion should have probably killed everyone. Why doesn't Miles carry him and run off? Does he not have any extra strength yet?
This override key is the only way to stop the collider.
Why would the guy who is willing to maybe destroy the Earth care enough about a place to put an override key? And why is it in a place only a spider person, or at least a powered person, could go? Also, it's not the only way to stop the collider. Stopping Kingpin from using the collider is the best way to stop it, whether it's by killing him or restraining him. Because if you blow up this collider, what's stopping him from building another? Really, Peter probably should have, and Miles definitely should, just call the police, get in contact with the FBI and the government, and tell them what batshit insane stuff Kingpin is doing. That is so obviously what Miles should do, rather than Miles trying to do this solo, especially after they know about him.
Swing up there, use this key, push the button and blow it up.
I get you're in a bad state, Peter, but Miles doesn't have any swingers, so yeah. Maybe you could quickly give him yours. I guess Miles could run up the sides, and if he can't manage that, crawl up with no one noticing him. Maybe Peter should tell him about a place where he could get some gear.
If he turns the machine on again, everything you know will disappear. Your family, everyone.
Remember, these are the stakes. Machine on, everyone will die.
Promise me you'll do this. I promise. Go. Destroy the collider.
Miles promises that he will never let the machine be turned on again. We'll see if he keeps a promise. Surely he will, you know, with how important this sounds.
Get that thing ready to go again, and soon.
Now, you can assume the explosion would have busted up the collider quite a bit, but really Miles doesn't know anything about any of it. From his point of view, it could be turned on any point from now, so he's in a race against time.
This might open a black hole under Brooklyn. If he turns the machine on again, everything you know will disappear.
Okay, there's some contradiction here. We have gone from will to might. However, any decent chance of a black hole appearing is not good. But either way, Peter should tell Kingpin there will be a black hole to try to sway him and his goons. Not that it would make any difference, because every bad guy is comically evil and incredibly stupid in this movie.
It can't be worth the risk.
It's not always about the money, Spider-Man.
Bro's obsessed. Who mentioned money? Who?
Kill that guy.
Well, Miles failed his promise in about a minute. Bro is dead. Oh, never mind. He teleported and is somehow outrunning this guy. Okay. Prowler, how about we don't stand still, then slowly walk towards him? Oh, and there were conveniently 2 trains in a span of 15 seconds, which lets Miles escape. Okay, I get Miles has just learned a lot of insane information, and has just escaped near death multiple times. But right now, Miles is in a race against time to stop everyone from dying. He needs to think proactively. All his thoughts right now should be on not letting Kingpin open the collider. He should know that he probably ain't gonna be able to put the thingy in the hole, because it's gonna be heavily guarded, as Kingpin should be able to figure out that Miles probably has the chip. So Miles should just tell his dad everything, then try to get the US government involved to raid Kingpin and stop the collider from opening. He can say he knows where the earthquakes are coming from and he saw Spider-Man die. With how the earthquakes seem like some mad-made craziness, he could get people to believe him. I think he could definitely get his dad to believe him. And anyway, he doesn't have a choice. It is a race against a likely extinction of humanity. But instead, Miles just doesn't mention anything and goes to bed. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, you should not make your stakes so astronomically large if you aren't very careful, because I'm going to be constantly grilling everyone on not acting in tune with the ridiculous stakes. Even though we don't really know how it all went down, I'm also thinking of what Peter Parker was doing. He managed to find out everything about the Collider, either steal or make a counter switch, but didn't tell anyone. I guess Spider-Man is a lone dude who saves the day, but we are talking about the whole world getting sucked into a black hole here. Are Miles' parents not gonna question how he scaled a building and why he scaled a building? So then Spider-Man's death comes in on the news, but how? Spider-Man was left dead in a secret Collider room. Did Kingpin put his body out on the street? Wouldn't he try to keep that hidden and not bring attention to anything? And then it pretty instantly got on the news? Whatever.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits eventually.
That's an okay joke, except Miles is more concerned about wasting $5 than, everyone dying. The tone is utterly fucked. Miles thinks now is a good time to try and jump some buildings. Bruh, just test your athleticism by jumping and running and punching to see how strong you are. Some bad things could happen if you jump off a building. For fuck's sake, this is how the gadget breaks? It's just so contrived. Miles feels like a bit of a failure and goes to Spider-Man's grave, which by the way is open to the public and completely empty. Yeah, nah. Somehow Miles is not freaking the fuck out that the entire world might just blow up at any moment, and that the only thing that at least the story is treating that can stop it, Miles just broke in the stupidest way possible. He was much more stressed when people were making fun of him in school. This says a lot about the human condition. So Peter B. Parker shows up by sheer coincidence, and Miles accidentally electrocutes him, which somehow knocks him out. And why does Peter B. want to talk to him? And why does he walk up to him so creepily? This doesn't kill any civilians or Peter, doesn't even knock him out, and then Peter B. gets knocked out from this and later this, so I don't know. But first the police come and say freeze like it's a crime being next to Peter's grave, okay. And then there's the goofiest fuck chase, where this guy easily could have died, and they could have easily killed others. Peter's face should be fucking obliterated, and possibly decapitated here, except he's fine surviving this, so who the fuck knows. All this is happening because Miles is acting like a fucking clown, when he once again thinks everyone might die in the coming days. Oh yeah, and no one is acting surprised at all that there clearly is another Spider-Man? Whatever. 1 foot lower and this little girl gets fucking A-trained. So Miles could maybe have killed a new Peter, and instead of letting him rest on a couch, he does some villain shit. Okay. Also, now Miles can carry Peter Parker? That skill could have come in use before.
This is amazing. You can teach me just like Peter said he would.
Priorities, Miles. Where are your priorities? Peter B doesn't want to ask Miles how Peter died, when he said himself that Peter's death links to how he got here. Is he stupid? If he didn't glitch right this second, then he would have just pissed off and the whole movie completely changes. These glitches just act as a device for the story to move in a direction it wants. And Miles, quick, tell him the things you know, for fuck's sake, he's trying to leave. And the glitch saves Miles a second time. Jesus Christ.
Want my advice? Go back to being a regular kid.
I don't have a choice. Kingpin's got a super collider. He's trying to kill me.
Why is Miles a complete sociopath? He's thinking about himself here? This is what I mean. The story doesn't understand what it's done with the stakes. All that should be on Miles' mind is a potential black hole.
When it runs again, I'll just jump in and get back to my life.
Why would you think this? What a wild assumption. Sure, jumping back into a multi-dimensional portal will just zap you back into your own dimension.
I'm supposed to destroy it so it never runs again, or everyone's gonna die.
Why was the way Miles said everybody's gonna die so casual?
Or everyone's gonna die.
Does he not know what everyone's gonna die means? Also, this confirms he's going with what Peter told him. He says everyone will die, not even might die.
But there's always a little bit of time before everybody dies, and that's when I do my best work.
Peter, are you dumb? Your plan is to jump back into the thing after they run it. You don't have time to do your best work because you think you're gonna be in your own fucking dimension by then. And Miles is telling you, if you do this, then everyone will die. If a machine runs again, everybody will die. If you think jumping back in the machine will send you back to your dimension, then it will be at the cost of an entire world. So basically, you're stuck here with a potential glitching situation unless you want to kill 8 billion people. But you don't give a shit for some reason, or are too stupid to realize.
Aren't you gonna need this?
What? But his psychotic plan didn't need this. Miles, respond to what he's saying, repeat the situation, then try to convince him to help you destroy the collider.
I needed to go home.
Wrong. If you put it in, you can't go home. That's the fucking point. Well, at least for now. And you might just not be able to go home. We're talking about multiversal travel here.
No, I'll swallow it, don't play with me.
Miles, you're clearly speaking past each other. What the fuck are you doing?
Did you break this?
No, it broke.
No accountability for breaking supposedly the thing that will save the world.
He turns the machine on again. Everything you know will disappear.
Look, if I don't turn off the collider after you leave, everyone in this city, my parents, my uncle, and millions of others will die.
If he turns the machine on again.
Look, if I don't turn off the collider...
This is where the movie officially shits the bed, and then keeps shitting the same bed until the end. It has no idea what it's just done. For Miles to turn off the machine has to be turned on. And if the machine's turned on, then there might be a black hole. So like Miles promised, under no circumstances should he let the machine ever be turned on again. This is the main plot point throughout the movie, so I'm sure I'll be talking about it more later. Also, why does Miles think it's only Brooklyn that will be sucked into a black hole?
Everyone in this city.
Does he genuinely not know what the word everyone means? What did he think Peter meant by the space-time continuum collapsing? That physics test must have been piss easy after all.
And millions of others will die. And you're just gonna go home and leave me here to figure this out for myself? You good with that, Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Dude, like what the fuck? He's just an actual sociopath. He doesn't give a shit about at least millions of people. Not my universe, not my problem. Hey, I'm fine with a character going full nihilist after learning that there's infinite universes. So like, what's one less? But, for one, he doesn't know how many universes there are. And two, you have to make that the character. Here, Peter just doesn't care about millions, really billions, of people just because. And it sure ain't treated like the insane thing it is.
Alright, kid, you win.
Come on, we don't have a second to lose.
You guys haven't sorted out your completely conflicting perspectives, and maybe just different knowledge on what the fuck's happening. But whatever. So Peter goes in on his own, but Miles sees Kingpin pull up and decides to help. This could be seen as a mental leap of faith.
I can't sit there and just let Spider-Man die without doing anything about it. I'm not doing that again.
Most people I meet in the workplace try to kill me, so you're a nice change of pace.
It is frustrating, because if I remove every plot and character thing to do with a collider and a painfully confused stakes, then there is so much to like about the Peter-Miles duo. Their duo is by far the funniest part of the movie, and their chemistry just feels so strong, and a lot of that comes from a great voice acting, especially Peter's. If this movie was just low stakes with this Peter-Miles duo, then it could be genuinely great, but alas.
If we fire again this week, there could be a black hole under Brooklyn.
So once again, the stakes are reaffirmed, that if they fire the thing up again, there's a high chance for a goddamn black hole to appear. So surely the good guys have to never ever under any circumstances let the collider be turned back on again.
You see this? And this? This is multiple dimensions beginning to crash into each other.
So the buildings and buses from other universes were popping up in this one? But what about the people in the buses and buildings? Did they get sent to this universe? I assume not, but how? And if not, then did everyone in the buildings look down at nothing under their feet except the already stacked up guts and gore from the people in the previous floors who plummeted to their deaths before them? And this is just some other huge reason to not let the collider ever be turned on again. It's even fucking up different universes.
This means there could be a rupture in the space-time continuum.
Ooh, that's bad.
Okay, confirmation that Peter B ain't deaf and is aware of the situation. Somehow putting a password into a computer is made into an utter mess of a scene. So we see the password cuts off, but like it's 15 digits at the most. It's just not remotely believable for Peter to see it being typed out in a reflection and remember it all. Then he's typing it out and gets to what easily looks like the whole password, then fucks around with Miles for a bit, and then this happens.
Remember this password. Capital DGFAMPESAND35 and download the schematic. While I turn on the charm.
So, where to begin? The password now is exactly 40 digits long. 14 Peter put in, and 26 he gives to Miles. Peter had to now see 40 digits being typed out in the reflection, and then remember them all. So Peter is just HAL 9001. And yet it's such a fucking goober, he didn't just put in the whole password when he has so much time. And then he expects Miles to remember 26 digits. Also, just knock the bitch out, like, come on. And Miles remembers pretty much all the fucking password. It's just, whatever. It's for comedy, I guess. Also, I'm pretty sure I could remember the first few digits and the last few of the 26 digits. I think the middle 20 would be the harder part. The password has gone from 40 digits to 15. Alright. How in the world did Peter get knocked back that far by a little push? And how did an evil chair magically appear? Miles taking the whole computer is a funny joke, but Miles is kinda just leaving Peter to potentially die, so... To be fair to Miles, he should not expect Peter to be placed in a magical evil chair. Woman, he is stuck in the chair. You said you wanted to watch him slowly die, so why are you breaking him out of the thing you fucking somehow got him stuck in? How and why in the shit is she here?
We don't need the monitor.
Best joke in the movie. Also, Miles getting dragged here with a POV shot is pretty sick. Although I don't know how the door closed or what's stopping her breaking it. How has Kingpin got hundreds of scientists to work for his catastrophically dangerous machine? They are clearly evil when they are all pointing guns at Spider-Man. Kingpin hired all these people without leaking any information to the FBI or anywhere? And how the fuck did Kingpin get the lizard guy, Doc Ock, and all the other zany characters to work for him? Money? Aren't all these villains crazy egotistical? But they are down to help Kingpin at the cost of a whole world maybe being destroyed. I mean, there's just nothing there. Also, since these scientists are evil, why the fuck do they wait for them to get outside before they start shooting? And will these guns kill them? Because they all apparently have fucking sequel stormtrooper aim. Another thing, even if I remove the ever-looming film-ruining problem of a black hole not being treated at all properly by the characters, I still don't think it makes sense for Miles' character to be joking around at all, really. He witnessed Spider-Man die in front of him. He was captured and then killed by the people he is going up against. I feel he would be constantly worried that himself and Peter will die just like the other Peter. Miles managed to get decently far before colliding into a tree, but on foot, these guys from atop a building have teleported right next to him. Because why not? And she's already here, whatever. So Miles clutches up, okay, and him and Peter swing pretty far for a little bit, after knocking Doc Ock down. They surely have outran everyone by now. Oh no, Peter glitched, but it's fine, he just has to get back up. So Doc Ock gets up next to them. She literally teleports like a kilometer. I mean, really, she should have got up a lot sooner, but that ain't what we're shown. So Spider-Woman decides to string up our team so they're out to fight, so she can show off her Go Boss powers and win the 1 vs 1. Okay, so fuck you, what if you lost? Maybe it would have been helpful to have 2 other teammates, but at the same time, shouldn't Miles and especially Peter be able to break out some webs? Oh, what? But she's the girl in Miles' class.
I'm from another dimension.
Before anything, why is any version of Spider-Man except Peter Parker being sent to this dimension? Shouldn't it just be people with Peter's DNA?
I was blown into last week.
For some ungodly reason, Gwen was blown back in time. Because, you know, randomly adding time travel to your fucking multiverse movie sounds like a fantastic fucking idea. And there's just no reason for it. It's just pure garbage to get her to meet Miles before Peter died. Her being sent back in time, whilst being from another universe, I believe can make some strange version of a grandfather's paradox. Because if Gwen, hypothetically, managed to stop Peter getting in the collider, then there is a paradox. Gwen stopped herself from coming into this universe, so she wouldn't be in this universe to stop herself from coming into it. But I guess you can argue that Gwen was always in this universe a week before the collider happened, so there's always one timeline and is where she doesn't stop Peter going into the collider. That feels like it could make sense, but what if instead of Gwen coming through the portal, it's an atomic bomb, which blows up the collider a week before it sends a bomb back in time? Then this is clearly a paradox, and so Gwen being sent back in time is very fucky. Also, just simply why would a multi-dimensional portal send her back in time and no one else? And has she not been glitching for a week? Isn't the glitching meant to get worse over time? And it would be a whole thing if someone noticed her glitching.
My spider sense told me to head to Vision's Academy. Wasn't sure why until I met you.
I thought Spidey senses are for being aware of imminent danger, not some insane future foresight, because that never comes in use again in this whole movie. Also, why Vision's Academy? Because of Miles? Miles wasn't even fucking Spider-Man when you joined. And when you saw him as Spider-Man, for some unknown reason, you did fuck all. And why didn't your Spidey senses do the whole seeing another Spider-Person thing? Also, why wouldn't your Spidey senses connect you to the actual Spider-Man, Peter Parker? Wouldn't trying to find Peter be a pretty great use of time anyway? And if this way more logical thing happened, then we would be heading easily into some crazy paradox shit. Peter probably wouldn't have gone in the collider. Also, how in the world does she get into Vision's Academy? Like, I mean, come on, she is homeless without money. It's all just shoehorned in to let Miles and her interact in school, which was all just fucking pointless anyway. Also again, what the fuck is Gwen doing at Alchemax? We're just not gonna talk about it? Alright. Now for Kingpin's backstory and his whole motivation. He was fighting Spider-Man. His wife and son saw. They were horrified. They fled. And mostly coincidentally, got hit by a car and died. Now Kingpin wants to bring them back by replacing them with different versions of them from another universe. Okay, for starters, it's just such a lame way for them to die. His wife was speeding but didn't need to be. But more importantly, what is Kingpin's motivation here? I just can't believe he's so dense that he thinks doing this is a good idea in any way. Like, of course another version of his wife and son would want to go back to their own universe instead of being with him. Like, it's just so obvious, I don't buy it. And the funny thing is, if he does bring back some version of them from another universe, they will fucking implode on impact. The fuck's this guy's problem? Plus his guns are still out.
All we have to do is kill a couple of spiders.
Well, actually it's at least 3, not a couple.
And the collider will bring your family back.
I thought she didn't want to go through with turning on the collider because of a whole black hole situation.
Tomorrow with my collider.
Tomorrow, so we are in a crazy race against time.
You know where we can make a new one?
Gwen thought to go to Aunt May for a place to make another goober. Why? But it pays off because Peter had a Batcave. Since when does Spider-Man have a Batcave? Am I out the loop on this one? Batman could have a Batcave because Bruce Wayne is like the richest guy in the world. Peter is a grad student and part-time photographer. Also, it must be breaking some building regulations. And how the fuck do you even build this labyrinth, even with infinite money, without anyone noticing? Also, why the fuck is it at Aunt May's house? Why were they all hiding in the ceiling? Also, how the fuck did they all think to go to Aunt May's house? Also, how did no civilians notice an anime girl with a robot and a goddamn pig walking around? These guys have very little character, and the only one that's kinda funny is Spider-Noir. The pig and anime girl are just annoying.
You're like me.
Oh, they're all spider people. I never would have got that.
The only way home is back through that collider gizmo.
One of us has to stay behind and destroy it.
Okay, somehow these new spider people and pig know a lot about the collider. Okay, they know it's really dangerous, that one of them has to stay behind and destroy it. I don't know how they plan to destroy it when they haven't got the chip, but that's besides the point. Their plan is to let it be turned on so they can jump in, but then leave a guy to destroy it because it's dangerous. But not dangerous enough to not let it be turned on? We have no indication of a time limit for it to become dangerous. Even turning it on again seems to have a very high chance in creating a black hole. This plan is purely counterintuitive, and if any of them have an ounce of morals, they should not let it be turned back on. These are apparent heroes. They should sacrifice their lives in favor of the Earth not turning into a black hole, even if it's not their own universe. But this film doesn't even consider the implications of letting the machine be turned on for any amount of time, and it turns every single one of our heroes into villains without the film realizing it. Now, if that isn't a writing disaster, then I don't know what is. Our heroes are the bad guys. They are allowing an evil person to potentially destroy the Earth. In fact, they want him to attempt to destroy the Earth for their own personal gain. Spider-Man is known as one of the most sacrificial superheroes. This is a fuck up on a catastrophic level.
I'm the guy who's gonna turn it off, and I'm gonna get you all home before I do. I made a promise, so I have to keep it.
If he turns the machine on again, everything you know will disappear. Promise me you'll do this. I promise.
I made a promise.
Yeah, you ain't keeping your promise, Miles. Okay, from now on, until we get near the end of the movie, I'm just gonna treat their plan like it makes perfect sense, and is the best way to save the world and get them back. Or else, that's all I'm gonna be talking about. Okay, now a really strange scene happens. Noir questions who Miles is, and Peter B hypes him up and says he is the one who will save the multiverse, whatever the fuck that means, then says he can turn invisible and shoot zappy things. But Miles, right now, can't do it on command, and then they all look down on Miles like he's shit. But Miles has spider powers. He has the exact same powers as Peter and Gwen, and probably the Spider-Noir guy. Miles' invisibility and electricity are in addition to the regular Spider-Man powers. Peter and Gwen know he's a newbie, but the others don't. Why are they shitting on him? Why aren't they suspicious on anyone else's power level? Like, what the fuck is a pig gonna do? He's a fucking pig. He looks like kinda dog shit to me. There might be something to be said about letting a newbie join a dangerous mission if his entire world wasn't on the line. And Miles has been in so many dangerous situations already. He already had a team up with Peter. Also, Miles probably too quickly picked up on web swinging when escaping a science place. He seems to be able to pick up on stuff really quickly. Why not, while you're making a chip, have a quick training montage? If he can figure out how to turn invisible on command, then it's a godly power. Even turning invisible in the most stressful situations is pretty broken. That's really the best time to be able to turn invisible.
I think he's gonna get us home.
Okay, nice. Miles' crush believes in him. What a great confidence boost.
Surprise attack!
Can you rewire a mainframe while being shot at?
Why would Miles need to rewire a mainframe while being shot at?
Surprise attack!
Can you swing and flip with the grace of a trained dancer?
I think he's gonna get us home.
Gwen is Two-Face over here. She decided to pile on to the bullying. Miles, you can't fix her.
Can you help your aunt create an online dating profile so she can get out of the dang house once in a while?
This is not funny. Yeah, fuck you, Gwen, and fuck you, Peter, for not sticking up for Miles. And fuck all the rest of you. What is this?
You need to be more honest with yourself about this. He's not ready. It's obvious.
I think he's gonna get us home.
How did they leave both these lines in the script?
No way, he's just a kid.
Dude, for one, he has spider powers, and his world might implode, and two, you're standing next to a pig and a fucking 9-year-old anime girl. The fuck do you mean he's just a kid? So yeah, this Miles low point here is so unbelievably forced.
I gotta do something, and I don't know if I can do it. I'm scared, man. I'm just tired of letting everybody down.
Where did all this come from? Miles was very confident in himself. Is this all from them just bullying him? Miles has already had the arc of not wanting to be Spider-Man and not believing in himself. to then go in and to help Peter when Kingpin walked in. He risked his life, got in some crazy shit, and got out. And he seemed to have been memeing most of the time. He wasn't shaken with fear and freaking out at how he nearly died so many times. After all the action ended, he seemed unfazed. Holy shit, I just noticed this laser nutmegging Miles. All I'll say is, close call. And who has he let down? No one can blame him for Peter dying, except maybe he could have carried him out. Maybe he just blames himself regardless, and then he broke the chip, which he at first seemed kinda regretful about, but then after he seemed to not give a shit and took no accountability. Again, this is all just so forced. So Prowler is Miles' uncle. Why the fuck didn't he assume it was Miles in the apartment? Is he stupid? Also, I hate how little character his uncle has. He seemed like a chill guy, but is actually straight up evil, and we don't know why. For money? Does he know the risk that Kingpin's machine can cause? He heard Spider-Man say it. No money is enough for that. And it doesn't look like he's balling. There's just no reason given that he's evil. He tried to kill Spider-Man and a kid. Also, isn't it just absurd how many crazy people Miles knows and meets? His uncle happened to be working for the main villain. A Spider-Person was in his class, obviously from a ridiculous plot point. He happened to come across Peter's fight. He met Peter B at the grave by sheer coincidence. And somehow he meets more spider people at Aunt May's house. It's just all so contrived and convenient. Prowler is right on Miles, but then teleports to another alleyway and is now on his motorbike. Bro, he's quicker than Miles. He would have to get off his motorbike to catch him anyway, which he was meters away from already doing. So I guess Prowler decides to stalk Miles instead of catching him, but then as soon as Miles gets to Aunt May's house, every villain shows up. How did they get there so quick? His uncle called all the villains and gave a rundown on Miles' location, and they all could get there instantly? Like, it's obviously just not possible. And really, I don't think Miles is stupid enough to get followed all the way there.
Look, he's just clearing his head. I know the kid. He's got what it takes. Get out of here, kid.
I don't see why you would tell him to get out for any other reason than his safety, but you also think he has what it takes? How do these things remotely line up back to back? And then there's something actually hilarious. Nobody is concerned about the 70-year-old lady next to them. How is no one trying to get her out? And you're worried about Miles for some reason? The villains could take Aunt May as a hostage if they don't just kill her on the spot, or she could just die in the crossfire. I mean, there's like 10 super people fighting in a living room. I don't buy Miles not being able to unstick at this point. We've gone through it too many times. Like he's web-swinged away from the bad guys. We're just going backwards. The fuck's the anime girl doing?
I said take it outside!
Moving on. Okay, there's 6 spider people and 4 bad guys. So why is no one helping Miles with Prowler? Peter and Anime Girl seem to be occupied with Doc Ock. Gwen seems to be occupied with Mantis Man. So you're telling me the pig and Noir fella are stuck dealing with this bozo? And they are saying Miles is shit. The worst part is the hypocrisy. So Miles' uncle sees that he's Miles, and for some reason keeps strangling him for a while. Like he's considering whether he should kill him. Bruh, Kingpin came as well? Why? How do you not notice Kingpin getting out the car and pulling the gun on him? It even shows him glance to the left. And why did Kingpin kill his own guy instead of the guy that he wanted his own guy to kill? Jesus, a close death if bullets can kill Spider-Man, which I assume they can.
This is my fault.
I can't even buy Miles thinking it's his own fault, honestly. His uncle has been trying to kill him the whole movie. I think Miles should be mad at his uncle here, and at least question him for being so evil. But none of that is even touched on. It just goes the easy route of Miles is sad because his uncle died, and nothing else.
Put your arms up now!
Why would Miles' dad not stay at the crazy shit going on at the house, but instead stalk Miles? All the fights got off-screened? Fucking Kingpin was right there. Everyone just fucked off? You had the villain. I know your plan fucking requires him, but I said I wasn't gonna bring that up. So come on.
Hey there.
And now Miles is joking around and seems perfectly fine.
You're not getting it. You're staying here.
Again, I don't get how Miles isn't strong enough to be able to join the mission. And if they are under the impression that Miles' world is on the line, then it doesn't matter if Miles isn't strong enough. They need all the help they can get. Bring a random homeless guy from the streets to help out. Bring anyone. Although obviously, I don't know what the fuck they think, because their plan requires the whole world to maybe turn into a black hole. So who the fuck knows? I was trying not to bring this up, it's just hard not to, you know? Also, the movie was building up a Miles-Peter duo until he randomly starts to doubt him. I just don't get the whole sequence of Miles going in to help Peter and them working together to come out of it alive.
Me as the teacher who could still do it. You as the student who can do it, just not as good. I'm proud of us.
Liar! When will I know I'm ready?
Why did you web his mouth? And how long do you want Miles to be struggling to breathe while stuck in a chair, while not being able to call for help? Also, how the fuck is Miles gonna explain all this to his friend here?
When will I know I'm ready?
You won't. It's a leap of faith. That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
Okay, this is the line, which is going to lead into the scene. But let's really think about it. For one, you don't need a leap of faith in order to be ready. You need practice, right? I've been upping Miles' ability more than a film thinks. But he obviously is real newbie at being Spider-Man, and the only way to fix that is practice. The weird thing is, Miles has faith in himself.
I'm the guy who's gonna turn it off, and I'm gonna get you all home before I do. Look, I made a promise, so I have to keep it.
Miles, you're gonna get yourself killed.
But I'm ready. I promise.
It's everyone else that doesn't think he's ready, but he does think he's ready. And if we're talking about a leap of faith, how about when Miles went in to try and save Peter after he saw Kingpin arrive? How isn't that showing Miles' faith in himself? And then, how about when he literally did 2 leap of faiths? In 2 life and death scenarios, he succeeded in a leap of faith. So by far the most hyped up scene in the movie, which I admit is stylistically fucking phenomenal, falls completely flat. It's just not built up. In fact, the opposite has been built up the entire movie until right now. Also, the fuck are they webbing on? I like Miles' dad's whole speech to him and how he believes in him and all that. His dad is the best character in the movie, by the way. But like I said, Miles seemed confident in his abilities throughout most of the movie. It would give him some extra confidence and motivation, but enough for that to be the thing to unlock his powers? I don't get it. And Miles is just too overpowered from now. He's had so little practice, yet becomes better than everyone. I guess it's just a leap of faith or some bullshit. No comment. Obviously, we are getting closer to the action, so what are the stakes? What the movie wants us to think, honestly I'm not sure. I'm really not. But obviously the real stakes are when the machine is turned on, it may create a black hole. And I guess the longer it runs, the more likely it is for this black hole to be made. So why is Peter being a weirdo and talking to MJ like it's his MJ when the stakes are so high? Also, I ain't no Spider-Man nerd, but doesn't MJ normally know about Peter's Spider-Man shenanigans, but she's at the evil guy's place and doesn't know? Weird. No comment. Jesus Christ, look how much the world is glitching.
I'll put the goober in and take over the beam.
This is the first we've heard of taking over any beams. Why wouldn't they assume that they have defense for the chip? That's pretty obvious. Couldn't they just have destroyed the whole thing to put the chip in? Or at least blocked it with something? Whatever.
Goodbye, Peter Parker.
If Miles was 1 second later, Miles just stops turning invisible for the rest of the movie, even though it's unbelievably broken. I guess he just ran out of juice.
Well, that doesn't look promising.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, that's an understatement, if I've ever heard one. People are for sure already dying from this.
Looks like
Why? And more importantly, Jesus fuck, there would be thousands of people in these buildings, right? Why not? It's obviously not shown and you aren't meant to think this, but still, and our characters don't know there isn't. And way more importantly, are all their walls literally getting shredded? I don't think it's unreasonable at all to think there's a chance that now 5 universes are at stake. Maybe a black hole will appear in every one. 5 worlds and 40 billion lives might just be on the line. But I guess just don't think about it.
Looks like our dimensions are coming to us.
Does look cool though, right?
You're a monster! You're like Hitler, but even Hitler cared about Germany or something.
I genuinely think Season 1 Rick would have a way less of a sociopathic response to that new information. And by the way, that ain't a good thing. This is some of the worst writing I have ever seen. Okay, so the whole fight is just random shit happening, but it does look pretty. If she lands in a machine, then it blows up, like what happened with Peter, which honestly could be a good thing because it might stop this madness. Okay, so they are at the keycard place. So apparently putting the key in gives you more options than just blowing up the machine. It can make like a reversal portal. Either way, it makes no sense. But you're telling me the scientists made a reverse portal for people who have come in to leave and go back to their own universe. And everyone is truly trusting in this machine made by evil people. I hope Penny survives the fall without her mech, and I hope all their universes are fine, despite whatever the fuck happened here. And I hope they don't all get sent back to a random point in a past or future.
You're not going anywhere!
How did he get there, and what's he gonna do? The Waywater Man is stuck on a tiny little island.
Hold him off! You shut this down!
Hold him off from what, Peter? You're both Spider-Man. Just go anywhere except towards the Iron Golem.
Push the green button!
Aren't you next to the green button? Where else is it? Why don't you press it if you want it pressed so bad?
It's a leap of faith.
I'll be taking a leap of faith out the nearest window if this shit show carries on too much longer. How did Kingpin get here and Miles just go to wherever the green button is? Nope, he's going in for the fight. Oh no, he actually decides to adios by the convenient train. Why is a button floating now? And then holy shit, what an unbelievable teleport. Just because you're an animation doesn't mean it's fine, having literally zero logic. They go into the Between Multiverses realm, so this thing does let them travel to other multiverses, not just bring people in. Jesus, that's a real crazy thing. Wouldn't it make more sense for Kingpin's plan to be joining some other universe with his family, rather than bringing them here? The Rick and Morty strat? That was utterly pathetic. I mean, I am just accepting that Kingpin is a human somehow, with strength way higher than Spider-Man, but still, Miles, what the hell was that punch? And don't fucking fight him, just leave and look for the some reason floating button. Bro, Miles, you knocked him off, it was GG, why are you gripping onto him still? You see the button, you look a big scary looking guy, and you choose a big scary looking guy, and you die from it. Good job. Oh no, but you see your dad, who's somehow right there, and that gives you the confidence to get up again, whilst the fat man just lets you, and hit him with a, "It's not always about the money, Spider-Man," and then finish and move him. Good job. Then Miles throws him at the green button, which is magically turned from being on a floating island to the original fucking place it was. And what if the 2-ton fat man just breaks everything instead of the button being pressed? But anyway, Miles wins, woo, and his dad definitely was obliterated in the process, along with hundreds of others. But no, everyone's fine. Even the grey guy, who Aunt May wrecked, survived the most insane shit ever. Somehow Miles did this off screen. There's a teaser for next movie which seemingly fucks with the multiverse way more. I'm sure I'll love it.
It's not always about the money, Spider-Man.